Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic rider. So today I'm on my horse Tilley. She's a Tennessee walking horse. She used to have shoes on the front, but recently one fell off and I just went barefoot. So she's barefoot today in the front and the back. She naturally gaits. If she comes out of gait, she paces. And what I'm going to show you with her today is her canter, because she didn't canter well when she came. And I've been working on it a couple years because she was 15 when I got her, so this was an older mare that I had to teach to canter, and she was so lateral because of that beautiful gait she had that she was having extreme difficulties. Okay, so I worked lots of poles. There's lots of videos on what I did with her in the beginning, and then I just kept practicing with her. And she's gotten much better. She can canter great out on the trail now. She can canter like little inclines or big inclines. The flat's still a little bit hard for her, and the arena's hard for her. But the canter is much better, and she can do it on both leads. So let me show you just how she moves. So this is her flat walk, just so you kind of see how she moves. She's got that walking horse kind of back end. It's kind of lanky, a little loose. She twists her hocks a little bit. And she's got overstride, but it's not extreme, which is good. All right, so that's her flat walk. Now I'm going to go a little faster to her running walk. Now I'm riding without my stirrups because I like to practice for my balance. And she's the safest one I have because the rest of the horses are in training, so I don't want to do it with them. But even myself, even though I ride every day, I want to practice my balance because it all gets worse as we get older. So with Tilley, the other things I'll tell you about her, she has a wonder bit in, and she, even though she's pacey, she used to get her head down really far and yank on the bit. And so I tried different bits, but the milers just brought her head down more, which they're supposed to, and she yanked on it more. And when I went to the wonder bit, it kept her head elevated a little bit. If I pick up, she'll pick it up. And she didn't pull as much. And then the rest was just retraining and fixing her. But you'll see, she has a beautiful gait. All I have to do is just keep her balanced and go the right speed. But these horses, if you just drop the reins like this, a lot of them get lower and lower, and they get very strung out and heavy on their front end. And then if they trip, well, good luck with that, because sometimes they'll just fall on their face. So it's best to ride them with some contact and keep their head kind of the top of your saddle level or just a little bit higher. If you're going lower to fix their gait, then once you've fixed it, then bring it up a little bit. Okay, so now we'll go the other way. So you see she has a nice stop and back up now, but we practice this stuff all the time. The turn on the haunches is difficult for her because of the way she's made, the back end, but she still does it pretty well. Now, this is the direction to the right that she was horrible when she first came, but she was a trail horse, so that's normal. So I worked a lot to the right, double. Did everything to the right twice as many times as I did anything to the left. So again, this is her running walk. And now she's quite balanced. It's not perfect, but oh my goodness, so much better than she was. She just would lean in like an airplane anytime I went to the right. And her canter, hopefully you could hear me because that was up on my eye. Her canter was horrible to the right, okay, pretty much non-existent because she was so unbalanced. To the left she could do a little bit. So we worked a lot to the right, and that's getting better. And some days I just come in and after a trail ride, I work her canter to the right, and then I just quit. Because again, I'm trying to get the right so much better. On the trail, she chooses her left lead if I leave it up to her. But again, she's getting stronger. So again, this is her running walk. So you'll see there's some back and forth motion of me, but not a ton. But the more strung out they get, the more back and forth motion you can get. And if you don't like the back and forth motion, usually if you bring their head a little lower, they won't get as much head shake and drive, actually. Otherwise, with the walking horses, we just kind of leave their head up a little bit or kind of neutral position, let them poke that nose out and shake their head. Okay? So overall, she's doing really well, and you'll see in a second when I stop riding, Tilley just stops. Now, you're not supposed to turn. Now, they memorize everything. She's a mare. She's always trying to get ahead of me. And so they start turning because I do a lot of that turn on the forehand. So they're like, let's do the turn on the forehand. I'm like, no, thank you. But that was very sweet that you offered that. Don't get mad when they do that stuff. They're trying to do the next step. So with her, now that we're going to canter, I'm putting my feet in the stirrups. But the 3 poles help her a lot. And she went through these stages. She was very anxious, didn't know what to do with her legs, trip, fall down, wipe out, do all sorts of crazy stuff. And then it got better. And then I was trying to, work on picking that lead up from the walk. Then she did that leaping canter where you see the videos of her like rearing up in the air because she couldn't get her hind end under her. And she's like, well, I'll just do this for you. And I was like, well, it's pretty fun. So yeah, go ahead and do it. But now we're past that stage. So I usually don't ask her to do it that way anymore. I just come to the poles and I use the pole to help her to get the canter. On the trail, I just look for a little bit of an incline, or I'd look for a branch or something to go over, and that'll help you to get that leaping motion. So when you ask for the canter, you're always practicing pre-cues, which means give your horse a warning before you do it, and then you lightly ask them. Don't kick them, don't charge them, don't run them in it, especially if it's a pacey horse, because those are the ones that'll trip and fall down because they can pace so fast. Trotty horses, sometimes you can push them into it, and I usually do it from a saddle gait or a fox trot, okay? But the pacey ones I don't. It's just usually walk, or I use a jump or a pull. So what I'm going to do as I get closer is I'm going to half halt. That's a pre-cue. That tells her, hey, wake up, we're going to do something. I shift my weight to the outside. That's to the left, so it opens up her right side to help her to get that lead. And then I kind of lean back and out. The canter lead comes from the back, not the front. Comes from the back, so you got to stay out of their way and have yourself balanced right to help them. I say the word canter. As soon as she hears the word canter, it helps her to start thinking, Gaye wants my right lead, so how do I pick up my right lead as I'm getting close to that pole? So some of the time she's going to get the right lead, some of the time she's not. She'll canter, and then she'll fall out of it, and then I'll use another pole to help her to get back in the canter. So what I'm doing is just going to random poles. If she keeps cantering, I keep going. If she falls apart, I immediately come back to a walk. I don't pace, and then I canter again. So this first time, again, since we said here, she might be asleep, so she might not be awake to do it, but we'll see. Okay? So here we go. I'm going to half halt now. So half halt, shift my weight to the outside, canter. Now I'm going to use my leg canter. And woohoo, did you see that? Well, that was great canter. So she didn't canter at all. And that's okay. Like I said, she probably wasn't awake. So let's try it at this single pull. So half halt, shift my weight, get ready, canter, left leg. Now there she took it too big. She got the canter, the right lead, so she did the right thing, but she took it from way far back. So I would like her to be closer if possible. Canter. So I already gave her the cues. Walk. Good girl. Now keep going. So I used to stop, so you always got to keep adding on. Canter. She tried, but she didn't get it. Canter, wrong lead. Canter, good girl. So she switched leads to save us just because of the way I got to the spot in front of the pole. So I'm just going to keep going. So each day I add on more and more. But see how relaxed she is now? Canter. So she didn't get it. That's okay. Canter. Good girl, but wrong lead. Canter. Good girl. Wrong lead. So I'm going to go back to it again. So the spacing I have, because people kick my poles around, is now a little off or I'm cutting my turn, which could definitely be possible. And so we're not getting to that 3-pole very well, so I'm just going to do the 3-pole itself and then give her a break. Canter. So now you'll see I just walked over that pole. She used to be a nut job when I was doing this. And she didn't get that one right. The reason I'm making it a circle, it keeps their hindquarter in, which helps you to get that lead. Canter. Oh. Now she took me right to the gate. And what do I always say? Don't stop at that gate. But that's the furthest she has cantered without losing her mind, tripping, falling, cross-cantering, or doing anything. So, again, it takes the time it takes. Yes, that was good, Tilley. Good girl. So that's it. That's the farthest she went. She tried a different answer, like, how do I stop this whole pole drama, Gaye? And, again, she cantered to the gate, but I'll take it. Because at least that was much, much further than she's ever gone. And again, you play around with the horse and you do different things. I tried cantering down the long side with her, and I've done figure eights and all sorts of stuff. It caused a lot of anxiety, but now she's been here a while that she's getting bored with this whole canter thing, which is great because that's what I needed to get to her brain, is for her to be bored so she would think. Because before, when they're anxious, they're not thinking, they're just reacting. And she was so freaked out, she couldn't figure out what to do with her legs because she was so lateral. And then she would fight with me because she couldn't do it. And I would just make her do it anyhow because I knew she could do it. And she can, she rears up really well. So she can get on that hindquarter. She just had to figure out how to do it. So that was fantastic. So we're going to go to the left and we'll see how that goes. Good girl. So very good. So remember, if they went farther than you did before, don't get greedy and go for more, because sometimes that was it. And if you try it again, you'll have to go 20 times to get anything even close to that. And you never want to quit on the bad note, because that's what they'll think is the answer. Right? So we're going to give her another minute. What else can I tell you about Tilley? Tilley's the one who's spooky by herself. She's great in groups. She's a great follower. But as a leader or riding her alone, she was very spooky and anxious. That has gotten much better. It's not her cup of tea. But she's helpful for me as a trainer, because before I had a very brave horse, and it was hard for people to keep up because he was faster. And if I had to put him back behind somebody, he sometimes would get a little reactive because I didn't get to practice that a lot. So, you don't want to set off the customer's horses because that's not good. So Tilley is a better fit for me because she's a follower. It's fine that I have to push her or get after her when we're alone, but I need her to be good in groups and safe in groups, and that's exactly what she is. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. Good job. So again, she's very smart. She's figured out a lot of things in the beginning, but she didn't figure out what to do with her feet with the canter because she was just so unbalanced and confused. So any day I didn't ride her, she was working over poles. At a flat walk, a walk. She'll trot a couple steps, but not many at all. So half halt, shift my weight, canter, right leg. Now, she got her right lead, which is what I was going for the other direction, but that's not, I'm going for her left lead this direction. Wrong lead. Now she's confused, so it's okay. Good girl. Now she kind of half cantered, but that's okay. Good girl. So expect when you first go the other direction, they might take the wrong lead. Canter. Girl. So she did it again. That's okay. So we're just going to the poles to help us get that lead. Canter. Good girl. Now I'm kind of pumping, which works with some horses, but she didn't get it. And she's like, Gaye, I cantered a step. I want to canter more steps. Canter. Oh. So sit way back. Good girl. So she got it. It wasn't great, but at least she got the correct lead. So I'm rewarding her for that. And she did pretty well. And then when she got here, she kind of fell apart. It's hard teaching the horses to canter when your footing's not good, and our footing's not very good. If I had a real fancy arena, it would go much quicker and easier because it would be level. The footing would help so we don't slide. The sand slides, especially with walking horses. They tend to slide their feet. So with the sand, when there's nothing in there like a texture, like a rug or a rubber, they're going to slide more and they feel unstable. It scares them. It scares me too. And so they're afraid to take those big steps because they might fall down, which is smart. All right, so let's go again before she forgets what she's doing. Good girl. So if I go right here, she's not going to be ready, and she might not even be ready for this one. So I try to keep their hind quarter a little bit to the inside. Canter. Now she missed it. That's okay. It's all right. Easy. Wrong lead. Good girl. So we cut that one, but she got it. Canter, wrong lead. You got to feel the leads. Canter, good girl. She lost it. Good girl. So we just go to the next one. This is how you build up their strength. Keep going. Wrong lead. So again, the fact she's picking up her right lead means she's getting better to the right, but she's getting the wrong lead this way. Good girl. So that's okay. So that means maybe I did too good of a job to the right, and now she's choosing that more often. Good girl. Now there she fell apart, but she tried. Good girl. So I'm going to give her a break. So she did pretty well. Now you can do things if you can memorize or you got a ground person, is you're like, canters well there, falls apart there, gets 3 steps there, falls apart there. And just everywhere they're falling apart, put a pole there. You don't have to get in a half seat to help them jump over the pole. Just sit up, stay balanced, because again, sometimes they trip, and you got to keep your weight back in case that happens until they really get sure-footed. So you have to think what's safe to do, or get somebody who knows how to jump, has really good balance to do it for you. Okay, let's try it again. So again, to the right, I did a couple little different things. She was doing better, and I just kept going. But to the left, she's having an issue because Gaye hasn't practiced to the left. Canter, good girl. Canter, good girl. Good girl. And keep looking the way you want to go. Now, she did the things she likes to do, but her vision's not so great, is she left too big there. Good girl. Now she leaps big, so I kind of went with her that time. Good girl. Wrong lead. Wrong lead. She's getting tired though, so. Good girl. But see, she couldn't get over poles like that before. I'm going to walk her for a minute to give her a break, but keep her warmed up. When she got to a pole and it was wrong, like that one right there, she couldn't step over it. She would just flail, fling herself, or almost kill us. It was pretty darn scary. And now she doesn't, she occasionally throws herself, don't get me wrong, but not as much, which is great. Because that's not a good thing, is for them to throw themselves over the fence and leave like way too big. Good girl. Because when they do, that becomes dangerous. That's when people knock over jumps. Good girl. Well, now that's good enough. You might be like, what? You didn't canter a whole circle or anything. No, I did not. And there's many people's horses that come in a month, I have them cantering all over the place. But it depends on the horse, and she's extremely difficult. Good girl, Tilley. So I always loosen the girth as the reward. Now I'm going to scratch her, but let's bring her over by you. Good girl. So she tries really hard now. We kind of have an understanding. She doesn't hate me anymore, but she hated me in the beginning. Don't get me wrong. She really did. Right? She tried, but she's like, wow, what's up with you, lady? So she likes the right side of her neck scratch, so that's why I'm coming over here as her reward. And so she tries really hard now that she understands she gets it, but she can only do what she can do. So depending on your horse's conformation, talent, previous training, what's going on with their feet, it all affects them. But the Pacey horses, or the horses just gait, are usually the harder ones to get to canter. The ones that trot are so much easier. And so if you like to canter, it's good to get one that has some trot in it, or already knows how to canter, so you don't have to be doing stuff like this. But she did great. And the things you don't know, again, she's got that wonky back end. She had an injury over the past year. She lacerated her leg. I left her in here, and I came back after I was walking around, and somehow she cut her leg. So that took us a while. That was downtime. And she's got pretty crooked feet and pasterns. Her feet don't come out evenly. So nothing about her is very straight, except for her blades. But some of the wonkiest ones are the ones that gait the best. And they're the ones that don't forage as much. She doesn't forage as much because her legs aren't straight. So all her legs get out of the way. Where if they got that overstride and a very straight way of going, a lot of times they forage really bad because those back feet are coming right up behind the front feet. So they're just stepping on them versus if they toe out in the back or they toe out in the front. So all those things that you think are weird, especially with the walking horses, that can be why, is because it helps them get their legs out of the way. All right. I hope that helps you with cantering. Don't give up. Keep working on it. You'll get it if you want it. If you don't have the talent to get it, you don't have the time, and you want to canter your gaited horse, it's best to get one that already canters. That's the easiest. And then if you can't do that, then get someone who's good with gaited horses who can train it to canter. All right. Hope that helps.